Papa,
Yeah.
what about gun safety?
Well, I can give you some pointers on gun safety. Back years ago, I used to paint cars over at Jim Langley's shop. His shop was high enough he could get his 18-wheeler in and stuff, so I'd paint cars in there. Well, he had a drag car, and I painted it white with a violet pearl flip-flop pearl on it. Well, I was out there, I painted it, I was getting ready to wet sand and buff, and I buffed that thing, had it looking good. I rode over to my buddy Fiji's and went in. I said, "Come on, man, ride with me. I want to show you Jim's cars." And he loaded up, and we drove over, and I opened up the door of the shop and walked in. Jim had an old kerosene heater furnace thing in there, and a pipe. That pipe looked like it was almost 20 foot tall that went out the roof. Well, anyway, something had happened and the pipe had rotted. So about 10 foot down, it was open. Wasn't nothing down after that. Bless God, if a blackbird hadn't flew down that pipe and come in there and pooped on that trunk lid and took his wings and just beat all over the trunk lid. Everything was in there just flying around. I said, "Come on." Me and Vig went over there and we walked in Jim's house. I said, "Dad." He said, "Yeah." I said, "Wayno got a pellet gun." Wayno, that was his youngest son. He come out the back there. He said, "What you need?" I said, "Ain't you got a pellet gun?" He said, "Yeah, I got a pellet gun." I said, "Let me see it." I told him what had happened about the bird who pooped on the car and messed the car up. Well, here Wayne come toting that pellet gun out, and this thing was some more kind of bad. It had a scope on it and all this mess. Me and Vig go out the door, and I'm standing out in the driveway, and I'm fighting, trying to get that pellet gun to uncock where I could put a pellet in it to try it out. I'm over there struggling with it, and about this time, he said, "Give me that." And he took that gun from me. He loaded that pellet up. He pumped that thing about 10 times, and probably about 40 yards away was the old peach tree. He throwed that pellet gun up there, and pow! You hear it gets, and he hit that peach tree. He turned around there and he looked at me and like that, give me the old wink. Said, "We good now?" He turned around and took about a step away, and I hear something coming back, and I'm like, "What is that?" And all of a sudden, pow! That pellet had ricocheted off that peach tree and come back and shot him right square in the butt. He threw that gun down. He's laying on the ground, rolling around. I'm dying of laughing. He gets up, he's mad as sin. He could choke me out. I said, "Come on, fool, let's go kill this bird." By the time we get back there and go in the building, that bird has done flew up the pipe and got back out. So Fish shot himself in the butt for no reason. Then, just a few years ago, me and my son-in-law went deer hunting right over here, and he shot a deer. We drag it down to the pond, and I said, "Hold on." And I go come across the road here, and I get the four-wheeler, and I go back over there. We load it up, and we come back. We put the deer on my truck. I said, "Okay, just take my truck, drive it to the processor and stuff." Now, I got this deer rifle from my uncle, and the deal was this gun was like brand hammer new. We couldn't figure out what the deal was, but anyway, I got it. It took some work, and we got it where it would finally shoot a target. Well, anyway, unbeknownst to me, the guy that had the gun before me had undoubtedly done some jerry-rigging on the trigger. I go in the house, me and my wife are gonna go to Christmas shopping. I'm going into this back bedroom here, right behind me, I had just bought my wife a brand new bed. I'm talking this old frame, looked like old farm wood, big old thick wood, brand new mattress and box springs and all that. That thing was 2 weeks old. I'm in there and I go to unload the gun. Well, the problem with that particular gun was if there was a bullet, you couldn't get the bolt to come back to spit the bullet out without flipping it up off of safety. So I hit the button, the other 4 shells drop out the bottom. I close it and I go to get the one out of the chamber. And mind you, all I done, I had my finger resting beside of the trigger. When I flipped the safety off, boom! It hit the mattress, went through the box spring, through the side of the bed, across the front of a nightstand, and into my brand new flooring in the floor. I'm standing there, and if you ever do something like that, all you have is this eternal ringing going, yeah, you can't hear nothing. And I'm standing there going like that. My wife is behind me, and she hollers, "Did that gun go off?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah. What did you do?" I didn't do nothing. Had they been one of the grandkids on the bed or one of the animals, I would have shot them doorknob, hammer, just boom, right there. So needless to say now, anytime that I got a gun, I unload it out in the yard, or if I do anything, all I'm gonna do is shoot my truck or something. So gun safety is of the utmost importance. Always treat the gun like it's loaded. Have a good day.